What is going on, traders? We got a lot to discuss, but before we get into that, like, subscribe, comment your thoughts below. Let's get into the video. So in my last video, I told you guys what I normally tell you like every single week is that Mondays usually mirror Fridays. So when Fridays are bullish, usually Mondays are bullish, and when Fridays are bearish, usually Mondays are bearish. If you've been following my channel for a while and you just haven't picked up on that by now, then I don't know what you're doing. But we saw exactly that happen. Last Friday was very bullish, and today we ended up being bullish. So my expectations into tomorrow is pretty much the same. Where I think we're usually going, or we're going to see a continuation heading into tomorrow. Now, it is important to note that we are at the 20 SMA. And in my last video, I told you guys that we are probably going to, at least today, we're going to hug the top of this bear flag until we get some type of news. Now, whether that news is earnings or Wednesday's news, I don't know, but we're probably going to hug up here up until we get to around 18,000. I would say 18,100 before we really make a decision on what direction the market wants to go. Now, I did get rid of the inverse cup and handle pattern, not because it's invalidated or anything, but I just didn't want to confuse anyone, and I want to focus on the levels in this video, and then we'll discuss the cup and handle pattern heading into tomorrow or tomorrow's video and see where we can go from there. But right now, as you guys can see on the NASDAQ, we are at the 20 SMA. Your key level here on the NASDAQ is still right around 17. Um, what is it? 17,830. You break back below 17,830, you're heading towards 17,750. After 17,750, you're heading towards the 50, well, not the 50, the 100 SMA, which is around 17,600. As far as upside goes, levels are still the same. You're looking at 18,000. Your next key level is around 18,080, 18,100. So again, I think we're just going to see a continuation heading into tomorrow, maybe into market close, and then we see what earnings can bring us. What is this? But we'll see what earnings can bring us. So we have AMD earnings, we have SMCI earnings, we have Amazon earnings, and we'll go over at least Amazon earnings. I'm not going to go every single earnings, but I at least want to go over Amazon because we are in Amazon. But again, I think we're just going to see something like this heading into tomorrow, and then we see what happens on Wednesday. So that is my expectations, at least heading into tomorrow. We're going to start heading towards this 50 SMA. I don't know if you guys can really see that; it's kind of blended in, but I think we're going to head towards the 50 SMA, which is around 18,100. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at as far as the NASDAQ. I'm also keeping this pattern here because someone said patterns don't work and wedges don't work and things like that. So I just want to keep this here as kind of a troll and just show people that they absolutely do work. If you've been following from my channel for a while, you will see that majority of the patterns that I have drawn out on my channel, or the candlestick patterns that I have pointed out on my channel, they have absolutely played out. If you follow my channel for a while, you should remember that this hangman pattern that played out on the SPY, I mean, I called this out like it was nothing. I called this out. I said exactly what's going to happen. And then even the day after, I said that we're probably going to start filling in the gap because hangman patterns usually leave gaps behind. And that's exactly what happened. So, yeah, if you don't believe patterns don't work, feel free to follow my channel. I have no issue proving to you that they absolutely do work. You're just drawing the wrong patterns, or you're just drawing, or you're starting from the wrong place. Either way, I'm here to help. But now again, that's what I'm looking at for the Nasdaq ES. So ES looks a little bit better than the Nasdaq. As you guys can see, we're above the supply and demand zone at around 51.23. This is a 4-hour supply and demand zone. These guys right here created it. So yeah, ES is looking really good. We're still at this 20 SMA. Expect the same thing that I just said on the Nasdaq, where we're just pretty much consolidate, probably like T's above it, and then we start heading towards 51.66 and then 51.80 if we break above 51.66. The highest I'm looking at right now is about 5,200, and then we'll have to see where we can potentially go from there. As far as downside, 51.20 is your pretty much safe zone. As far as downside, if you're bearish, you get below 51.20, then you're looking at 5100 and then 5080. You break below 5080, then I think we're pretty much done, and we're going to really start seeing like bears, not bears, but bulls panic. So be on the lookout for that. Okay. So that's what I'm looking at as far as the ES. Again, I didn't keep the inverse head and shoulders, not head and shoulders, but inverse cup and handle pattern here because I just want to focus on levels today and just not confuse anybody. Okay. SPY. SPY, I told you guys I want to see a close above 510. We got that close above 510. I also said if we get above 510, then we could start heading towards 511.5, which is around the 50 SMA, right around this area. So pretty much the same thing as the ES. I mean, they're essentially the same, where we pretty much just hug up here, and then if we get above the 50 SMA, I think we could start going as high as 515, 516 range. So be on the lookout for that as far as the SPY. As far as your key level to the downside, 507. I tell you guys all the time that wicks tell you where sellers and buyers are, and right now we want to get below not only these guys below 507, but below these guys at 505 range. So if we can get below these guys, if you want to be bearish or if you are bearish, then after that you look at a move towards 503, 503.5, and then in order to break below or like really break down, you're looking at a move below 497, which is right where these buyers are right here. So we can stop these guys out of their position. Then we're chances are we're just heading much lower to 495, 490, and I'm still sticking to that target of 490 until we break all-time highs. I still have a short-term bearish target of 490 on the SPY. Triple Qs. Wait, hold on. There's actually a pattern here that I want to show that actually played out, and I did mention this in a video before, right here on the SPY, right here. And I mean, look at that beauty. It just plays out so perfect. I mean, so people say patterns don't work, and I mean, again, it's not that they don't work, it's that you don't draw them right, which is usually most retail traders' problem. They just don't draw the right pattern, or they're just looking at every single time frame and psyching themselves out. But as you guys can see, what happened here, we broke down, and granted, the measured move, well, actually, the measured move did play out. We got the measured move, and then right now we're retesting. So I mean, patterns work. It's just you're drawing them wrong. So yeah, right now we're retesting this pattern and we're trying to break back in, which is around the 50 SMA. So it's pretty ironic that the 50 SMA is right at the bottom of this pattern. So yes, wedges work. Yeah, you're just you. Triple Qs. So triple Qs, pretty much the same thing. I told you guys I have a price target of 436, 436.5. Right now we're pretty much just hugging the 20 SMA. We're like kind of above it, but I'm looking at a move like this where we hit 436. I think we can go as high as 440. That is on the table, but right now I think we're just trying to retest the 50 SMA. I saw someone in Discord that when we left the 50 SMA, we never retested it again. So I think that that's what we're trying to do before we potentially see another leg down across the market. And what I think can cause that next leg down is either earnings or Wednesday's news, or either Wednesday we get bull trapped and then CPI comes in and boom. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at. But 436 is my target as far as upside on the triple Qs. Don't know what happened there. But as far as downside goes, we break back below 429. I would say 429 to be safe. We're heading towards 428. And then after that, you want to get rid of these guys at 426. There's a lot of turbulence here. I know they're really short targets, but triple Q just has a habit of doing that. It just creates a lot of turbulence. So yeah, we break below 423, then I think we're pretty much done, which is below this supply and demand zone here and the 100 SMA. I think we're pretty much done. We're going to start heading towards that 404 target that I've talked about, and we'll see what happens from there. But right now, I just think we're simply retesting. We never retested the 50 SMA when we left it, and then we'll see what happens from there. Okay, we could just continue to go up. All right. But until we break all-time highs, my bearish targets are still going to remain the same. Okay, and then after that, if we do break all-time highs, then by all means, I would get rid of those targets and let you guys know. Tesla. So Tesla in the Discord, we are in 175 puts for May 3rd. I really like this trade. It has a 1 million premium. The bot pretty much alerted this trade, and I did like what I saw on the charts as well. So we are in, yeah, 175 puts. We got in at around 197. Tesla after hours is currently at 193. So we're currently in profit on this play. Really was liking what I see across the board. It's at the 100 SMA. It pretty much failed at the 100 SMA. There's also a daily supply and demand zone here where there's a 4-hour supply and demand zone and a daily supply and demand zone. So yeah, here it is. So we rejected this 4 hour supply and demand zone, which is another reason why I jumped into this trade as well. So we rejected the 4 hour supply and demand zone as well as the 100 um, SMA, and then on a daily time frame, yeah. So this can count as a daily supply and demand zone as well as a 4 hour supply and demand zone. So clearly, we rejected both. I think we're going to start heading towards 170, 169 gap fill. So we'll see how that plays out. But in my last video, I told you guys I really liked Tesla to the upside. It was looking really good. I didn't expect this much upside. I was expecting like maybe a move to 184 by the end of the day. But we got a lot more than that. So congratulations if you took Tesla or you are in Tesla shares. I think it's going to need to see downside because it's pretty much been running since earnings. Okay, so I think it needs more downside before we see us start really getting it deep into the 200s. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at as far as Tesla. And as you guys can see, I went over this falling wedge in one of my videos or like multiple videos where I said it's going to roll over and then we'll see what happens from there. It either continues down or it recovers back up. And as you guys can see, the falling wedge ended up playing out. So yeah, and you can check the videos. I went over this so many times. But yeah, patterns don't work. Amazon. So Amazon, we are in 195 calls for this week in the Discord. It is an earnings play. Oh wait, no, we're in PayPal. That was a thought. I was discussing it with a member, but yeah, we're not in this play yet. We're in PayPal right now. I'll go over PayPal in a bit, but yeah. Um, as far as Amazon goes, I think it's going to pull what Google did. I think it can. And I'll show you guys. Actually, we'll just show you guys Google now. In the Discord, I said either Google can go to 120 or it's going to hit the top of this range right here. Let's get rid of this. It's going to hit the top of this range for earnings. I drew this out, and patterns don't work, right? But I drew this out prior to Google earnings, and I mean it's amazing how this played out. Earnings, it jumped all the way up to the top of this range. We go to a lower time frame. It rejected, fell right back below it, and I mean it's just crazy how this plays out. Where can Google go from here? I think it's going to head back to 160. If I draw this out, I think it's going to head back towards 160 right now. I mean, as you guys can see, it's pretty much here at around 165, 166. So we'll see what happens from there, but I think it's going to head back down towards at least the 20 SMA around 157. But I think the market is going to need to support that move. But so far, I mean, this was a no-brainer put play, so I'm just mad I didn't get into it. I really don't trade Google like that. So congratulations if you took Google. I think it's just going to pretty much start filling this gap up from here, and then we'll see what happens from there. But yeah, that's what I was looking at as far as Amazon. I mean, I think Amazon is probably going to pull the same thing where it heads towards 195, maybe even 200 for earnings. Okay. Now, keep in mind, earnings is 100% gambling. Um, yeah, you could get IV crushed, all that fun stuff. So, do your own due diligence when it comes to this. But really liking how Amazon is looking so far. I like that it closed above 180. I would have liked to see it close above 182, but we'll see what happens tomorrow. But I told you guys also that this is a island gap reversal here. So yeah, I mean patterns don't work. So yeah, PayPal. PayPal has the same thing that I just showed you guys on Google. Same exact thing. As you guys can see, I even showed this in the Discord. So we are in PayPal earnings. I let everybody know that yeah, this is like super risky. I'm just letting them know that I'm in it. You don't have to take it. 70 call, and my price target for PayPal is about 78, and they have earnings in the morning. So that's what I'm looking at as far as PayPal. I think it's just going to earnings. It could potentially head up to 80, or I just get completely destroyed. So we'll see. But yeah, that's really all I have for this video, guys. I just want to get through it real quick. Um, Somebody commented on my YouTube video and pretty much said a negative comment. It was just like wedges don't work, trend lines. You can draw them from anywhere. And I just want if you follow my channel, you see that this stuff works. It's just a matter of how you do them. And it's also important to know that when you're using patterns, you don't want to solely trade off those patterns. You want to use other forms of confirmation, such as SMAs, supply and demand zones. You guys know that supply and demand zones are my bread and butter. So I don't strictly trade off of patterns. I use supply and demand zones like always. and I talk about it all the time in every single video. I mean, supply and demand zones, supply and demand zones. I'm always marking those out, and as long as the market sentiment matches, then I go along with the patterns as well. But patterns, supply and demand zones, patterns, trend lines, SMAs. Those are my main ingredients, and I only use three time frames to trade off of. So, and sometimes I wander off to like other time frames. Sometimes, very rare, but you would never see me looking at a 5 minute time frame or a 15 minute time frame. You would never see me going super low on time frames. I think they're just a setup for failure. So that's just my personal opinion. Bitcoin, saying, I mean, Bitcoin, we took a trade on in the forex group. So it's amazing that someone said in my last video that it was clickbait, even though I went over Bitcoin and my thoughts on it dropping. And we took a sell signal at 63,700. We took profit at around 62K on Bitcoin. So congratulations if you took that trade. But as far as Bitcoin goes, I mean, my sentiments remain the same. I think it's going to head towards the 100 SMA at around 59K. I think it's going to head as low as 52K. And that's all I have. So hopefully you guys got something out of this. Comment your thoughts below whether you agree or disagree. As of lately, I've been getting negative comments. Um, it's pretty funny. Someone said my video was clickbait. My last video was clickbait, even though I went over everything in that title. So it just shows me that people don't even watch the video. And what's more ironic is the guy that said that. I went to his channel and he only has 30 subscribers, but he has 1K views on every single one of his videos. And he was just telling me that I should grow my channel legit. Crazy. But this video right here, so feel free to check it out. Let me know if you think it's clickbait or whatever the case may be, and let me know if you think patterns work because consistently I prove that patterns work on this channel. But everybody's free to their own opinion. But until the next video, traders, have a good one.